Hello and welcome back to Tennessee's practice facility. I'm Ryan Sylvia. This is Noah Taylor. We're with VolReport.com on the Rivals Network. And yesterday we tried to record a video after hearing Joey Halzle, offensive coordinator, and then players Joe Milton, Squirrel White, and Dylan Sampson talk. But we had some technical difficulties, so we're going to combine that with defensive coordinator Tim Banks' comments today and give our full breakdown. So let's start with what we heard yesterday on the offensive end. Noah, what was your biggest takeaway from what Joey Halzle had to say?
Yeah, I think it's the running backs. He talked a lot about how to balance, the depth that you have in there. Obviously, they have a lot of pieces. You get your two top producers back in Jalen Wright and Jabari Small. Dylan Sampson had a really good year last year, expecting him to also step up. And then some talented freshmen. They've talked about being able to see the field a little bit as well. So how do you balance that? How do you get those two guys in the rotation while also keeping the guy with the hot hand in there? And I think that was kind of interesting. Dylan Sampson we heard from after Joey Halzle, and for him, he talked about his development. And again, had a very impressive freshman season, and just now he says he's meshed in this offense. He understands a little bit better. Mike Eckler the other day talked a little bit about him also being featured in the return game. So very interesting to see, he's kind of a multiple guy, a fast guy. He was asked about who's faster, him or Squirrel White. He said he'll leave that one up to the people. And so maybe we'll get to see that or hear about that at some point. But a guy with a lot of speed, a guy that flashed a lot of ability last year, and a guy I'm expecting to get the ball a lot more this year with a very, very talented group.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of third on the depth chart, but still a guy that's going to see a lot of run, get his fair share of handoffs. You kind of mentioned with the offense, with how many plays we run, no one's really complaining about how much they get the ball because there's so much to go around.
Yeah.
So it should be a solid sophomore year for Dylan Sampson. My biggest takeaway, though, was from Joey Halzle himself, talking about how he prepares from game to game as the new offensive coordinator. Of course, Alex Golesh, offensive coordinator last year, goes and takes the job at USF. Now Joey Halzle is your OC. In terms of watching film, he said it's a little different, that he kind of has to not just focus on the quarterbacks like he was last year and look at the whole thing as a whole, but when preparing for games and preparing for specific matchups, that's still a communal kind of effort from the entire offensive coaching staff. It's not just him trying to take over this job, just like last year, just like this year. It's kind of a group effort. Everyone comes in with their ideas. So that part maybe isn't as different, but there are some aspects that have changed. So I thought that was interesting as he began to detail what his job looks like compared to last year. But Joe Milton, of course, probably the biggest name on this Tennessee roster. He spoke with us as well. What was your biggest takeaway?
Oh, just with Joe, a guy that's comfortable in this system now. He talked a little bit, some insight that maybe we didn't get to hear about before, but obviously a guy that came in here, a mid-year enrollee in the summer of 21. He didn't get that, that spring or that winter to be able to mesh with these guys, to build relationships with teammates. For him, when he arrived from Michigan, it was immediately learn the playbook, immediately learn the system. Maybe that had a little bit to do with him kind of starting out the gate slow, but here we are in his third fall camp, and he talked yesterday, he has that relationship with the guys. We've seen the headphone thing. That was a big thing this week. Close with guys. Guys are close with him. They talk a lot about his leadership ability, how comfortable they are with him now. I think that's going to go a long way, because I do think that the technical aspects, the knowing the system, I do think that's improved. I think we'll see that on the field. Being able to have a relationship with those guys off of the field, I think, is going to help him tremendously as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, came in the spring, didn't really have time to exactly bond with the teammates. It was just, you need to be ready to go, because after all, he was named the starter to begin that 2021 season. Completely different Joe Milton at this point, though. But let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. Tim Banks talked to the media today. He was asked about kind of what's the biggest strength of this entire unit, and very quickly he responded, the depth. It's absolutely the depth of this unit. And when you look at the depth, a lot of it is kind of freshmen and sophomores that just got on campus either last year or this year that are already turning heads and kind of impressing. Some guys that he was asked about or named were Arian Carter, David Hobbs, and Christian Harrison. So those are guys, either freshmen or sophomores, that have clearly come in and made an impact and look to see the field this year.
Yeah, and I think, too, with the depth as well, maybe we sound like a broken record now. That's a big issue. I mean, it's something that they've built over the last 2 years, and now in year 3, I think you're going to start seeing that, what they've been able to do on the defensive side of the ball. You have pretty much everybody back. You have a lot of experience back there. But one thing he said today that was interesting was their ability to be multiple. It's not just having bodies out there. I mean, that's a good thing, guys you can have, but you can have guys, we saw it last year with all the injuries and things where guys were having to play multiple positions. they not only have the depth, they have guys they can plug in at corner, at safety, at star, just in different places all over the field. That's going to be just as important as just having bodies out there.
Yeah, when you look at that 2021 depth, I mean, you're having long snappers, transition to linebacker, just put bodies in the room. It was rough for Tennessee's defense.
Walk-ons. Guys that were walk-ons playing in big games.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden you have depth that you feel like you can trust on the field, which of course is going to help everyone. Getting those guys, those starters, some rest and still feeling confident that your defense can help with the stop should go a long way for Tennessee's defense. So a group that was pretty good in the run game last year, could have been better in the pass game, should take steps of improvement this season, even with some key departures like Byron Young, Jeremy Banks, and Trey Flowers. That'll do it all for us today. Make sure you head over to VolReport.com for our written content, and we're running a deal right now, 60% off. All the info is over on the site, but if you've been on the edge about should I get a subscription or not, now is definitely the time to do it ahead of football season. We have a lot of great content over there. You'll get access to our premium stuff as well as the message board where we've had some great discussions heading into football season. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you head to the description for all the links you need and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.